Hey, today I want to make this book review type of video because I just finished reading these two wonderful books and also want to build a habit of reading because it's really soothing, when you're reading something at your own pace. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the first book. Now the first book is called Heft and is written by Liz Moore. The story revolves around two main characters. The first main character is called Arthur, and he is this retired professor who is severely overweight, and he has never ever left his house ever since he stopped being a professor. And when I say he has never left his house, I mean he literally has zero human interactions like face to face. So yeah, he has completely isolated himself from the rest of the world. Now the second main character is called Cal Keller. He is this really troubled teenager who is trying to find his place in the world, you could say, or in school, because he just got transferred from a middle class public school to a really wealthy private school. So finding his new crowd, blending in with the people is gonna be a little bit hard. And his father abandoned him at a really young age. And last but not least, he's dealing with his alcoholic mother, Charlene. Now Charlene is an old friend of Arthur, the main character. They used to be really close at some point, and so one day Charlene decided to write Arthur a letter asking him for help for her son, basically asking him for guidance and just to help his son out for the troubles that he's going through. So from that point onwards, you can see that the story starts to escalate, where Arthur decided to go down a different path, where he starts to open up to people, and then you could see Charlene and Kel going down a different path, and which is the emotional path. And I mean, this book is just really emotional and heart-wrenching. Initially I picked this up, I thought, the cover, I thought it was really lighthearted or feel-good type of book, but I was really wrong. This was one tough emotional ride, especially in the end. And then I felt like in the first quarter of the book it was being dragged on for a little bit too long, but if you could read past that point, everything starts to pick up pace and everything just falls into place perfectly. And so that's why I'm giving this book a 4 out of 5. Now moving on to the second book, it's called Happiness and Other Small Things of Absolute Importance. It's written by Dr. Haim Shapira, and it might look like a self-help book, but it's not. It's a book where you kind of broaden your perspective towards like happiness and other small things of absolute importance. Things like desires, emotions, love, time, and death. So this book reads in this really casual tone, as if you're having a conversation with a friend instead of being really strict and uptight. So I think it's really good. And it has like a lot of references and examples throughout the whole book, where you could see quotes from philosophers, historical figures, literatures from like The Little Prince and Winnie the Pooh. So it has like references and examples where people could relate to and gravitate towards, and it's just a really easy to read type of book, but at the same time it gets you thinking about stuff. For example, it mentioned about happiness being not just a thing, but rather moments in life, like tiny moments where you wake up on a Sunday and you realize that you could actually sleep for a couple of more hours, and that tiny moment is happiness itself. And so it has a lot of things like that, and it gives insights, it broadens your perspective, and I feel like this is a really good book. I'm giving this a 5 out of 5. Plus the author adds like personal experience inside the book. He brings in his wife when it's about love, he brings in his father when it's about time, and it's just a really good book to read. And yeah, 5 out of 5. I think it's really fair. And yeah, that is all. The next two books I'm gonna read are probably gonna be The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint. I cannot pronounce that name.
Antoine de Saint-Exupéry.
And also The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. That Book 2 is gonna be my next 2 books to read. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.